All right, welcome to one of the funnest shows in sales, if not the funnest show in sales. I'm Nick Saller and am co-founder of Relationship Sales, which is a masterclass for professionals to develop their sales skills, whether they've never had sales training or they had sales training and they're looking to plus their skills. My partner, Jeff Wangen, has been in sales for over 30 years and he's done some amazing things, but he focuses on service first. And so if you haven't seen it on April Fool's Day, I love to have a little fun on April Fool's Day, and there's definitely some funny stories, but I'll spare you. Uh, we did a fun little thing where we did kind of the anti sales tips, things that you probably shouldn't be doing, but did it in kind of a cheeky fashion. And so I want to go back now and take those sales tips, and I'll give you the April Fool's sales tip, and then I will go over what is the, I would say, better way to present yourself and to engage with people in your processes as it relates to sales. And so, with that said, we'll start with the anti-sales tip, and then we'll follow it up with the sales tip that really is the difference maker. And so, the first one on that list, and I'll just kind of Tarantino it and tell you that there's at least 17 on this list, but I'm not going to tell you how many there are until the end. But stick around. I'm going to do this in several parts just to keep them relatively short. I will tell you that this is meant to provide some strong value for you as professionals to help you with your processes as they relate to sales and interactions with people. And hopefully you get some enjoyment out of this. If you are tuning in for any of these, feel free to like, share, subscribe, whatever it is that floats your boat. But like I said, this is just meant to really add some value and also to clarify in case there was any confusion because of the fact that the anti-tips were released on April Fool's Day. And if you looked at the tips really small, it said fools. So it said April sales tips. But anyways, with that, the first one on the list, number one, is feign interest. And the cheeky way that we shared this in the live stream was that nothing says you care like great to be connected here on LinkedIn. Hope is all is well on your end. I am with a pay-per-performance marketing company. Here's the thing. People really don't care what company you're with. And if you lead with that, they're just building a wall and they cannot stack bricks fast enough to get away from you because of the fact that you appear transactional with a reach out like that. So here's the real tip. Here's whether it's on LinkedIn, whether you're talking to someone in person, the real tip is this: show and demonstrate real interest. Put your agenda aside for a minute, learn about the person that you're interacting with, listen more, talk less, ask great questions, and actually wait for them to answer. Okay, here's the thing, like you can ask questions all day long, but if you're cutting them off or you're just waiting for your turn to speak, that also speaks volumes about how interested you truly are. So I would encourage you that if you're asking questions, that's good, but wait for the answer, okay? And then see how you can help them in a meaningful way. And I'm gonna address this multiple times during these streams today and tell you that if you really focus on adding value first, sales will come, okay? And I can speak to that personally because after partnering up with Jeff for a while now, I have learned quite a bit about the fact that just adding value can make all the difference, and then the sales come accordingly. So that is tip number one. And hopefully y'all are enjoying the beautiful day behind me. It's a little bit breezy, so hopefully you can hear me okay. But it's a spring in South Dakota and the birds are here, and it's a great place to be to share this with you outside. Number two, and I put this as always be transactional, was the anti-tip. So don't be transactional, but this was the funny one. This is the funny side of things. ABT, or always be transactional. Nothing closes a sale faster than treating someone like a line item on your balance sheet of sales dominance, okay? Nobody feels better than when you are just treating them as a box to check and a transaction to close. Opposite side of the coin, where you really truly want to be as a professional, if you're taking yourself, your potential clients, your market, your profession seriously, is ABR. Okay, ABR stands for always build the relationship. It's not about the sale. Okay, it's about building relationships and serving, and the sales will follow. If you're intentional about this, you have to get the flywheel turning. Okay, so you're turning the flywheel by adding value into people's lives, and if you do that consistently over a long enough period, it will really reap incredible benefits for you as a professional, regardless of what profession you're in. People that focus on value, it's not the get rich quick way to do things. It's the build relationships sustainably way to do things. And that's why they say every overnight success is, 10 or 20 years in the making. And that just comes from building value and being consistent, showing up every day and doing good and putting good out there. So we'll do our first 7 on this video, and then we'll go take a break, come back and do another stream about a half hour from now. Number 3, and this is the April Fool's sales tip that we shared back on April 1st, is without a doubt, use the word I, and use it often. Talking about yourself is the most effective way to build rapport. And if you can, start every sentence with the world's shortest word and most short-sighted sales strategy, which is start with I, okay? Here's the thing, this is not rare. I have received probably no less than 3 and maybe as many as 5 in the last 6 months, LinkedIn Sales Navigator and private message reach outs, where someone sends a message and every single sentence, literally every single sentence, starts with I. So I don't know how you feel when you receive messages like that, but from people I don't know, it really is a huge turnoff, and it's basically a deflection from whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish, because it pushes me further away, and I would imagine it pushes most other people further away. And so if you really want to be a professional that people take seriously, know this, remember this, commit it to memory. I is the shortest and surest way to turn someone off. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again so it goes and drives home the point. The word I, is the shortest and surest way to turn someone off. All right, so keep that in mind. And just to kind of expand upon that, refer back to number 1 and number 2 from the take-home relationship-based sales tips, not the April Fool's ones, but the relationship-based sales tips. And I'll repeat those real quick. Always build a relationship and always show real interest. And here's the thing, they will only care about knowing about you once they know how much you care. Okay, so I talked about this in number 1, be interested and listen. It's a big deal, and people really do appreciate it. So, and even the bugs are out today to say happy spring. All right, number 4, this is the April Fool's sales tip. This is the one that you definitely do not want to do. It was just a joke back on April 1st, is forced awkward professional intimacy is the way. Okay, if you go back, I said it just like that in that previous video. It's just, if you can feign interest and fake a compliment, that's the perfect time to hit them with your pitch, okay? And that is definitely tongue-in-cheek. Please do not do that. Make sure that you are listening and paying attention, because this is the real thing that you want to create when it comes to building relationships. And that is kindness and genuine interest in listening for a need that you can serve is the way, okay? I've mentioned this so far in this video at least a couple times. And here's the thing, these things are not flashy, but if you do them well, you are putting momentum on your professional flywheel, and the results will be extraordinary. And here's the thing, you just have to kind of keep your nose down and focus on putting good into the world and creating good outcomes. And if you do that, you're gonna look up one day, it's gonna be extraordinary what has happened and the blessings that you have received as the result of putting so much good into the world. But I'll repeat it again. Kindness and genuine interest in listening for a need that you can serve is the way. Asking better questions creates stronger connections, and it uncovers ways to add value to other people's lives. And so if you are great at asking questions, you will find that it becomes very easy to figure out ways that you can add value to others, and they will appreciate you for that. And even if they are not destined to become a client of yours, whether you're selling a product, a service, a platform, it doesn't matter. If they're not destined to become your client for whatever reason, then maybe they have no use for what you do, they will talk about you in a fond way, and other people will hear that, and those people will become your clients. So just keep that in mind. All right, number 5. This is the April Fool's way of going about it. It's always the right time, okay? Ask for personal details straight away after completing the previous 4 April Fool's sales tips, okay? Again, caution, flash, flash, flash. This is the April Fool's tip, and please don't use these. I'm poking fun at this, And so it's not always the right time to ask for personal details. In fact, it's becoming increasingly abused, especially on LinkedIn. People just reaching out and asking for personal details and all that kind of stuff, or making personal comments. And that's just, it's inappropriate on all levels. And I've seen it with actual legitimate companies. And I've also seen it with like the fake accounts and stuff like that. But it's not doing anything for building relationships amongst people in the world. So the opposite side of that coin is timing matters, and listening allows you time to think. Time to think allows you the opportunity to assess how you can create value for those people that you're talking to. And sometimes that actually means serving without any sale. And sometimes that leads to both anticipated as well as unanticipated or unexpected sales and benefits as well. So you have to really realize that being patient and knowing about how timing impacts the person that you're speaking with, and also just your general efforts in a day, can make a big difference between perceived wins or catastrophic losses. So let's go back. Number 6, this was pretty funny. So always check out their profile. Go ahead, tell them that you checked out their profile, and then make them feel at home like you just ended up on a dating app that they did not sign up for. So here's the thing, like, this is getting pretty bad on LinkedIn, where someone reaches out and says, hey, I checked out your profile. Here's the thing, LinkedIn's not a dating app, okay? So talking like you're on a dating app doesn't really put a lot of confidence in the person that you're sending a message to. Obviously, this probably doesn't happen as much in the real world, because if it did, people would just walk away from awkward people that would say things like that. But on LinkedIn, it's still considered a professional platform, and this is a very unprofessional way to reach out to people. It's definitely going to make a lot of people feel very uncomfortable, and they're not going to listen to your reach out message or your follow-up message. So what does the opposite side of the coin look like? This is the real take-home tip that you can implement today and see some real benefits. And that's be respectful. Just because you have access to a lot of information about the person doesn't mean it's an opportunity to make them uncomfortable with that information. Go easy. Many people are not fully comfortable with the fact that there's so much information about them online as it relates to their data. And asking good questions eliminates that potential pitfall. So here's the thing. When you meet someone the first time, you really have to understand what type of meeting it is, as to whether this is an opportunity to do a whole bunch of background research on this individual or this company. Like if it's a resume and an interview, that might be an opportunity. But if you are interacting with another professional, or even someone who's, maybe further along in their career, spitting out a whole bunch of personal information that you found online about them might make them, feel awkward. So you got to be careful. And here's the thing, if you ask really good questions, you can learn a ton about people, and they feel good because they divulge that information that you learned in their own time and in their own way, rather than you playing Inspector Gadget and following them around online to their various platforms to learn so much information and then overrunning them with that. All right, number 7, and then we'll wrap up, and then we'll come back for a volume 2 on this. Number 7, the April Fool's tip was professionalism need not apply. Now, here's the thing. It's great to be authentic, but, leading with, hey, it's, I'm tongue in cheek here. Lead with, hey, it's a great intro and makes you seem relaxed with none of the awkwardness associated with professionalism. The workplace is relaxing. I realize that, and it's great. It's great to see people a little bit more at ease, but it's going pretty far, pretty fast. Whether it's too far, too fast depends on each person's individual perception. But here's the thing. Just because of the fact that you're comfortable with it, you also have to realize that if you do this to enough people, you're going to see that there's going to be a good portion of people that are going to be turned off by the fact that you're so relaxed. And with that in mind, that may be good for you because you work in a space where you don't care if they're turned off by that. But if you're doing it and you're in a space that's maybe a space that generally is focused on more of a trust type situation. So these are established companies, blue chips, that sort of stuff, leading with, hey, may be turning off the ideal audience that you look to serve. So you got to keep that in mind and know your audience. And true professionals, they know their audience, they address their audience in the way that the audience prefers to be addressed. So this final one is the antithesis, or the other side of the April Fool's number 7. And this is 7 for actual relationship-based interactions and sales tips. And that is be professional, but approachable. Okay. So when in doubt, it's better to be professional to the point where you feel like you're, ready for the situation on all accounts. That might be your dress. It might, and I say dress as in what you're wearing. It may be, your timing as in punctuality, all those things, the little things that people notice. But it's good to be professional, not to the point of being forced and awkward, but also having an air of approachability. Smiling is a great way to create an approachable aura about you and not be too over the top with being so relaxed. And with that, be a good human. Don't be stuffy. Don't be aloof. Okay, if you can help it, because of the fact that if you are approachable, that's where relationships are formed, and that's where great things happen. So I hope you've enjoyed the first kind of 7 follow-up tips to tell you the real way to do things versus the fun tongue-in-cheek way that we were joking about back on April Fool's Day. If you went through this video, one, thanks for following me all the way through to this point. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Please feel free to drop a comment about what your favorite tip was, or if you disagree. We welcome civil disagreement in the chat. That's totally fine. But just remember that when I shared a tip, the first tip that I shared is the anti tip, and then the one that follows right up to that one, that is the one that you want to use in your everyday efforts professionally. So just keep that in mind. So we'll be back. We're going to do at least 1 or 2 more of these, and we're going to do 7 tips at a time. So stay tuned, or maybe 7 or more. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a couple more than 7 or something like that. But stay tuned. I'll be back in probably 15 minutes to a half hour, and I'll make sure that the link is posted for the next stream. So if you want to join in, feel free to do so. Thanks.